This is the Fat Bois Anime Podcast. All right, how's everybody going? It's going good. We are starting, well, this would be our first official podcast under the Fat Bois Anime Podcast. We did have a trial podcast a couple weeks ago, and our boy Tyler didn't do the recording right. So here we go. We're running it again. So today we're going to be getting into some genres. We're going to do a little kind of breakdown of Overlord and Dr. Stone.
Yeah.
And we're going to have some fun today. So my name's Tyler. I'm one of the co-hosts on this podcast, and been watching anime since I was in third grade. Started watching Dragon Ball Z, got into it on Toonami, been watching a little bit of anime in high school and college, but really got big into it once I got Netflix, because before streaming services, it was a little bit difficult to really binge anime. So once I got Netflix, Hulu, Funimation, now it's kind of really taken off. So haven't watched nearly as much as my boy Noges though. Noges is probably a black belt amongst black belts in anime.
You guys already know we're here. My name's Anthony, one of the other co-hosts of this podcast. Here to just drop some knowledge on these chumps with me today. Trying to get them to watch more animes, all that good fun. And have them get me watch animes, because I know there's some that they haven't seen, like Hamtaru, my boy Nick over there, that I haven't really seen that much. So I'm excited. Let's get into it too, man. Let's enjoy this.
Unlike Sensei Anthony over there, though, I'm a anime noob. I'm Nick Garcia. I'll be the producer mainly on this podcast, and I'm just getting started in all this. They definitely have beaten me probably 10, maybe 100-fold in the amount of hours they've watched. So I'm looking forward to diving in deep.
Do we have the stats on that yet? I remember you're working on it. Did we ever get the final numbers on that tally?
Not the final numbers yet. We'll come out with those over time, I think.
That's going to be fun. You're about to see who's the biggest loser in this group. And I guarantee you it's not me. It might be me, but okay. We don't need to judge yet.
I'd have to take like a year off work to catch up to you, so I don't know. We'll see.
That's true.
Yeah, there's a certain point when you stop counting in hours and you start counting in years of your life of watching anime.
You know what? If we don't count like second seasons to animes, I really haven't watched that much. The number decreases greatly to only like a couple hundred. So, nothing crazy. But
So if anime is trash, you're just like, okay, we got to drop this one.
Oh, no, I watched it all the way through.
So even if you hate the first episode, you'll still finish? What if it's like 4 seasons?
Yeah, because I've been there before where I kind of stopped watching an anime after like one episode or two. And I don't know, for some reason, I just have like this just insane guilt. Like I just did someone dirty. So I have to go back and watch it. And you know what? 9 out of 10 times, it turns out to be a decent anime. So, you can't really complain about that.
Well, and most of the ones that are pretty trash are short, too. Like, a garbage anime is not going to pull off 1,000 episodes. So that kind of weeds it out in itself.
What would you say, boy? There ain't never a trash anime, all right? There's only great anime. I'm just kidding. There's some questionable ones out there.
No, there's some straight garbage out there.
Nick? You need to settle down, all right? Because you've only seen, like, one Sword Art.
No, I've watched 2. I've also seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
All right, everyone. Nick is the big-time anime geek who's watched Pokemon.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Digimon.
Alrighty, man. So I'm looking forward to this one. I feel like we never, we've never, us as 3, when we've always talked about anime, we never really talk about the genres we mainly like. I feel like it's just more like episodes of the big time animes.
Yeah, kind of the big 3. Well, I think especially when you first start watching anime, you don't even realize that there's different genres. You just kind of think, oh, it's all just, it's all Japanese cartoon content. But then when you really break it down, I mean, it's anime is probably more broad or way more broad than the cartoons here in the States.
Easily. So, I mean, should we get the main topic going? Who should we start off with? I feel like we should pick on Nick on what his favorite genres are. You know what I mean? Let's just dive into dive into the big dog right here.
Well, if we're talking topics of anime and what genres we like, I gotta go with slice of life.
Oh,
I'm looking at those healing animes.
Wow.
You know, I work these long hour days after work, after homework, after all this. I kind of like something that nulls your mind. There's a specific term for it, for healing animes. It's like Ayashike. Do you guys know what that means?
Okay, that's the other.
But it's basically an anime type that they have some general storyline, but it's just more about day-to-day life. And it's really just meant to numb your mind and not really go anywhere.
Yeah. You know, I'm not going to lie. I'm surprised about that you said slice of life. I was expecting you to do like some... I feel like all of us would. You know, we love that action stuff. I was expecting you to do like some action adventure type of one.
Man, Nick's switching it up out here. So Nick, is Sword Art Online, is that considered slice of life or no?
No, when I'm thinking that, I'm thinking more like Your Lie in April.
Oh no!
Or A Silent Voice.
Don't you ever bring that anime up to in front of me again, unless you guys want the waterworks going on.
I'm talking about like K-On! If you guys ever seen that one.
K-On!
Dang, Nick's taking it into
This
the fringe.
guy's getting
I like
deep
this.
over here. K-On's. I'm not gonna lie. I watched K-On before. I got nothing to complain about it.
But these are all about, like, I think it's the same appeal as when people watch The Office or Friends. Like, they're just watching people live their lives with a little bit of comedy in it.
Yeah.
Nothing really too dramatic.
I respect that. That's so true. So what anime really kind of got you into that genre specifically? Is there like one that kind of stands out more than the rest?
Well, I might be a little biased because I watched one recently. I think Agretzko.
Negretzko.
Just some sort of like that hard-lined anime style with just a really cutesy day-to-day life work environment with a little comedy sprinkled here and there.
That's a good one.
I think that's why I've been hooked on it recently, and I picked that one.
I kind of go through phases where I kind of like will binge watch like a certain genre, and I definitely go through my phases of slice of life, and I'll just like immerse myself in, you know, these anime lives for like a week or a couple weeks before I, you know, resurface and start breathing some of that normal like action anime that I'm used to.
And what are you watching most of your slice of life on, Nick? Is that on Crunchyroll or are you doing Funimation?
I have a Funimation account right now, but I think I'm about to hop over to Crunchyroll. They just the depth in Crunchyroll is so much greater.
There's levels to it. There really is.
Yeah.
Honestly, I go ahead.
Or Funimation is just sometimes you get cut off on certain amount of seasons that you can watch on a certain topic.
Yeah.
Or it's really for if you want to watch dubbed.
Ooh, talk about a topic we will get into one of these days. Dub versus subs.
Oh, don't
We
get
ain't
that
gonna get
I
started.
it
didn't know we have a pleb in here.
we
We're gonna be
we
throwing
ain't gonna be
blows.
throwing people under the bus yet. But-
Tyler.
Okay, Nick. So that slice of life, would you say that's your number one, like overall, or is that just kind of your number one as of like right now?
I think overall you always got to go with like the long running action adventure. You can't really get away from classics, you know.
I agree.
But if I'm picking one that I keep going back to, it's going to be those healing type animes.
I like it. So then what is your second genre? Like, okay, well, you know, since we probably all could kind of agree that, you know, like our action, like shonen type of animes are like our big time ones. What do you think, aside from those ones, what do you think after Slice of Life is your next go-to?
What are the ones called where they kind of like, they throw you into this different world environment? So I'm thinking like the ones where they wake up in a video game.
Yeah.
And they just have like these different world settings.
I'm pretty sure it's Isekai. I'm pretty sure the video game ones where they wake up into into a video game, I think that's considered Isekai too. I could be wrong, but I know like in general when you wake up into a different world, or like those ones where they die and they're like reborn into like another world, that's called Isekai, which is, you know, classics, man.
I mean, could you even consider Digimon and Isuke? Because isn't that kind of the premise of Digimon?
Digimon's an American
Waking
cartoon.
up in a... Okay, well, that's true. But let's say if it was waking up in a...
No!
We're not saying if it was, boy.
I'm a fanboy for Digimon. Digimon goes hard. You know what? I'll say it right now. Digimon's better than Pokemon.
Whoa,
We're looking for a new host.
Whoa.
You can fill out your application.
Whoa.
Yeah, I might get canceled on Twitter for that. But, right? So Digimon, Sword Art Online, Overlord, those are kind of all fall in that category.
All I know is we just lost all our anime sponsors. We don't have any, so it's all good.
Listen to the first 5 minutes. Like, these
podcast.
kids don't know what they're talking about.
So do we acknowledge what Tyler just did right now, or do we kind of just keep talking? You know what I'm saying?
The loss of revenue.
The anime, it was fun while it lasted. We are 11 minutes into our first episode, and we just burned and crashed to the ground.
Good night.
Welcome to Fat Boys Anime Podcast, everyone, where we talk about anime and slide in cartoons, too.
I mean, I think I would just have to bring up the lack of character progression in Pokemon. That's all I'm going to say.
What are we talking about Pokemon, man? We're talking about Isuke. What the heck?
Okay, let's get back to the topic.
I mean, I love Pokemon, man. You could always talk about Pokemon. I mean, come on, we're like 5 years old watching Pokemon. Never a bad thing to talk about.
But it's especially, we're getting hype 2020, 2021. The value of Pokemon cards has gone through the roof. And mine have mysteriously disappeared. I'm pretty sure they got cleared out of my childhood home at some point.
Oh, man.
But if you look like a single holographic Charizard, base pack, it's going for 150 grand. It's ridiculous.
As we all know, COVID's going around, right? So I watch videos online, Instagram, the TikTok. And man, I get caught in these videos where these people like buy Pokemon cards and just open them to see the value of them. And it's funny because those old school, like the OG Pokemon, if you get like a holographic one of those guys are like big money supposedly now.
And they're sitting there, they'll like buy Pokemon card packs based on how much it weighs. They're like, oh, this one weighs like 13 grams. I'm going to get this one because it means it has a hologram in it.
Okay, I used to have superstitions like that too. I went through a phase where I just went hardcore on Naruto cards. Me and my siblings. And
what the heck?
Yeah, man. I used to get in bidding wars on eBay where I just straight up stay up for like 4 hours bidding against people trying to save 10 cents on a pack of Naruto cards, man. And do I regret it? Sometimes. But I mean, I really don't though, because I freaking love those cards. But like what Nick's saying, they're gone. I don't even know where they're at right now. Somewhere in my parents' house.
You would spend like $6,000 on a Sakura card.
That's Tyler.
Nah, I ain't getting no Sakura card.
You know what, Tyler?
If I'm
Tyler would be the type of guy
if I'm buying a card
to play a magic card in the Pokemon game.
Oh no, get that. It's all about Yu-Gi-Oh! Bro, I had the very first Dark Magician deck.
Trash.
Now that's classic. Forget that Charizard, Metallic, Blastoise, Platinum. Get that out of here. It's all about the original Blue Eyes,
Red Eyes,
White Dragon,
Black Dragon, man. Deck. Don't even go there with
until
that
your
Blue
sister sold it for a pack of cigarettes. All your Yu-Gi-Oh cards are just gone.
Yeah, my Yu-Gi-Oh cards are probably getting exchanged for drugs right now, but they were fun while they lasted.
Okay.
Good
childhood memories. We got off topic right there. We're talking about Isuke, but so that's the one where they go to the different world. So let's jump to Tyler. What are your kind of favorite genres? Do you kind of see yourself doing slice of life or Isuke, or do you have a couple other genres that you follow more?
Well, so it would be a cop out if I put shonen.
We all know that's number one. We'll go for like our seconds or thirds technically.
Yeah. Okay, so if we're bringing up, right at number 2, I had mecha animes. So mecha animes, predominantly when you think of Gundam, you think of Zoids, you could potentially put Code Geass in there. What are some other ones? I haven't seen what is that one called? Gurren Lagann?
Gurren Lagann.
Yeah, Gurren Lagann, that's another huge mecha one. But for me, primarily, is mainly the ones that I watched growing up was Big O, Gundam, and then Zoids.
Erupting, burning finger. Come on, man. I know you watched that Gundam, right?
I know, looking back, that attack phrase kind of sounds weird, but nevertheless, burning finger.
You put me on blast like
burning
that.
finger. Yeah, looking back, I'm like, well, that's a little odd. Y'all are yelling out burning finger, but that burning finger put in work.
Legendary.
And mecha animes are huge when they've got a literal Gundam statue right there in the middle of Tokyo. So, I'd have to say mecha. I mean, I think mecha, they don't have as much, I would call it, staying power. You don't see a lot of long-standing mecha animes, especially Gundam. They do a lot of short ones that are usually like 20, maybe 50 episodes, but yeah, I
feel like that's what kind of makes them legendary, though, because you get like the full, complete story. You know what I mean? Like you get the start, you get the middle, you get the climax, and then boom, you get the ending on Gundam. Oh man, there's so many Gundams that just kind of make me want to cry sometimes too. Oh man, that's just all around. Like that's like kind of one anime group that's always like pretty solid, even when they come out with like newer ones.
Well, and I guess if you think about it, they have a strong business model because they can reinvent Gundam as much as they want. I mean, they don't have to do reboots and stuff like other animes. They could literally do 100 reiterations of Gundam if they wanted. Kind of the same thing with Zoids. Zoids hasn't been as popular, even though I'm a huge Zoids fan. They kind of topped out at 3 or 4 different reincarnations and they kind of died out, it seems like.
Zoids, that's old school.
Did you used to have those? Do you remember those Zoid action figures that you could put together and they like wind up and run around? Yeah. Those were legit.
Oh man, I had the old school. It was the Liger Zero from, I believe it's Zoid's Zero Century. It was the big Liger Zero, the white cat with the blue armor.
That one was a beast. It was.
That was fire.
Any money I got growing up would always go into that type of stuff.
Yeah, I always bought a lot of Gundam action figures too. And to this day, you know what store you could always go to and like just casually find some they look super nice in their display, but Barnes and Noble, you could always find some like bad looking mother, sick Gundam action figures, just to put it lightly, man. And I swear, Lauren always got to pull me away, man. The lady has to pull me away because I'm ready to buy. That's like the one stuff I'm ready to just buy and spend money on is anime stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone to Barnes & Noble to look for books. I just more look for like the little trinkets on different anime stuff that you can find there.
The games and exactly, action figures here, man. And then like a random origami book or something like that, the stuff anime, you just get caught down a rabbit hole and you're like, you see origami in one anime and you're like, I'm going to learn origami. Let's get it.
2 days later, it's still on the shelf.
I never said I wanted to be proficient in it.
I even saw a Dragon Ball Z Monopoly one time at Barnes & Noble. I was like, I don't think most people even know what this is, but that was pretty legit.
Let me guess, that was like the biggest regret you have in your life is not buying that game, that board game of Dragon Ball Z, because you'll never see it again.
Oh yeah, I'd probably have to go like down to the black market or something if I was trying to find another Dragon Ball Z Monopoly. I mean, you could find Disney Monopoly and all those everywhere, but that was the first ever Monopoly anime edition I've ever seen. But another good store is Box Lunch.
Ooh.
Box Lunch they probably have the best anime merchandise I've ever been to.
Box Lunch it's an awesome place, man. Just the fact that you could get lost in like your whole childhood of cartoons as well too. And they have anime stuff. Ooh, game over.
And it's not just like your typical t-shirts. They'll actually work in some nice pullovers, some nice button-ups and stuff. So it's not just like the cheesy, nerdy anime t-shirts,
Yeah, I agree. Man, they're just... Whew. All right, so what's your next go-to, Tyler, as far as genres of anime go? We know you like the action. We know you like the mecha. What's your next one?
Well, what we'd been saying earlier may taint this number 3 ranking, but I had put Isekai at number 3 primarily under the assumption that Digimon was considered an Isekai anime. So I don't know, if they're out, then I might have to bump them down. But I was thinking of Sword Art Online, Overlord, Digimon. I know there's more than that in Isekai, but those are probably the top 3. And Digimon was fire. Digimon was amazing. Sword Art Online's pretty awesome. I just think that's a genre that we're probably going to see a lot more of in the future, especially as people start getting more into the virtual gaming world. I would imagine here in the next decade we're going to see some pretty decent animes come out in that category.
We know your list had tentacle for all the top 3 options.
Ecchi.
Tentacle anime. You're just frantically crossing it out.
Ecchi,
You're like,
harem.
oh no, I can't say that.
Yeah, I was like, okay, tentacle, harem anime, giant monster anime. Yeah, those were really the top 3, so I had to go down to number 4 to get you guys Mecha and Izuki, but...
I like it, my man. Alrighty, so mine, if I'm going to go with two that I kind of always find myself watching or always looking for to watch. I think sports anime, it's kind of like in its own genre right now. It's kind of one I love watching. Obviously, we grew up playing sports, and that's just one of those ones that kind of just takes me back. Those animes usually get me hyped as well too. Right now, watching Haikyuu, which is the volleyball one. Man, that one's just killing it for me, man. I'm just loving that one right now. It might be my favorite anime that's coming out right now. That, and then I'm always watching like baseball, basketball ones that, I don't know, I just kind of love that like competitiveness that they have in those animes. And I don't know, it kind of like, a super like fighting action anime where I'm like kind of getting drawn in, getting hyped over there on the couch, just like pounding my chest, getting, hyped up when they do a nasty spike. You know what I mean? It's one of those animes for me that I'm just like, yep, this is it. So that's like one of my, I don't know, have you guys ever dove too much into the sports animes at all?
Yeah, and it's like one of those things where I could have never wanted to play the sport or had any interest in the sport, but watching an anime on it, you're like, bro, I got to get me some knee pads and some volleyballs, and we need to go start working out. This looks like the best thing.
It really is, man, and it's just, I don't know, it's just that hypeness. What about you, Tyler?
I haven't seen it yet, but, always... Every night before I go to sleep, I go on Instagram and go through my anime pages, and I'm always seeing clips of... What's that one called? Hairu? Or is it Haiku? That volleyball one, is it Hairu or Haiku? Haiku, okay. So I'm always seeing some clips of him spiking, or he's always like doing a stare down of another opponent or something. And I never thought I would watch an anime about volleyball, but I think I'm sold. So probably after I finish Code Geass, I think I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah, kind of like what Nick was saying too. Kind of makes you wish you could play that sport. Like to me, I was like, why did I ever play football? In high school, I should have been doing volleyball this whole time. Then I also remember I might be a little too short for volleyball, so maybe that's why.
Hey, but if they ever do make an anime about football, that'd be pretty cool. I don't know if we'll ever see that, seeing as how I think that has zero interest over there in Japan. But if they did, that would be pretty neat.
I think they have like 1 or 2 that they're okay. Nothing like big time though, so not that many people have heard about them.
Yo, the one you do got to check out. Have you ever watched Megalobox?
Megalobox, yep, that's a good one.
Oh.
Mechatronic boxing. It's legit. And the whole concept is like the main character is this underground grungy guy who's going to beat everyone without using any mecha.
Joe.
It's legit.
My boy Joe.
Yeah.
Did you watch...
But talk about getting hyped.
So I think they had an old one, and I think did you watch the newer one that came out like I think it was a year ago?
Yeah, the 2018 one.
Yeah, I think I think this was remaked if I'm not mistaken. But that was a solid one too. I really liked it. It just gets you hyped, does it not? Like I remember watching that one and I was getting hyped too, man. When he does like that exhibition fight of that one famous boxer that was pretty legendary. Loved it.
Yeah. I didn't go to bed after that. I just had to watch the rest of the series.
You're over there shadow boxing in the corner, huh? That's what I was doing. I'm not gonna lie.
Breaking lamps, throwing kicks into the bed and stuff.
I was ready to box my wife.
She'd probably win though.
She'd give me the dirty look from the side of the room. Anyways, another anime genre that I really enjoy, and I feel like, I don't know, you kind of have to have the taste for it too, but I feel like it doesn't get as much love as what it should, is horror animes. Horror animes Man, I swear, like horror animes just kind of like mess with your mind, and you just don't even know what's going on half the time, and you're just like, wait, did that really just happen? And then you kind of get caught thinking like, this is a cartoon. Why are they showing this on a cartoon? But then you realize you're like, this is anime, and this is why I love anime. Have you guys ever seen any horror animes before?
No. Does it mostly get into like monster thriller, or is it more psychological?
There's a lot. The psychological
murder mystery.
The psychological ones are the ones that I kind of love. You kind of have monster ones, so technically you could classify whatchamacallit, Attack on Titan. That could be like a subcategory of it, is like a horror, where they have like giant monsters and stuff. But I don't know, some of my favorite, like Another. I don't know if you guys ever want to watch a horror anime, watch Another. That one's pretty good. That one kind of messes with you a little bit. One that kind of came out this past year that's really good. They have a second season coming out too. That's really huge. We could probably do an episode on the podcast about it one day. But it's Promised Neverland, man.
I've heard that's like one of the most savage animes out right now.
It is crazy, man. So I'll just tell you guys like a brief summary about it without giving anything away. But essentially, like, there's these orphan kids, right? And they essentially have like this. It's like a mother who watches them. So it's an orphanage, and they have like the main lady who watches them. And essentially, what they don't know is they're kind of living in this orphanage with a bunch of other kids, and it's always happy. They're always playing together, eating. But what they don't know, like on the outside world, there's like these monsters, who essentially eat humans. And just to kind of put in a summary is that, this orphanage where they're at is technically like a human farm. And I'm just going to leave it right there.
Gosh.
So that, let you guys ponder on that. But I would definitely, we'll get into some horror animes in one of these episodes, because they're just awesome too, man. Dead Man Wonderland.
So does that one play off of Peter Pan, or does it just like a play on words? Do they play into some of the themes?
I don't really know. I mean, so I could kind of see why it could be a play on Peter Pan, just because it is. If you think of Peter Pan and like the Lost Boys and all that, young children and stuff like that running around, it's kind of like what they have in this, like a bunch of young children running around, technically never grow up, because and that's where the horror kicks in, because they're over here essentially livestock in this orphanage, and and that's part of the story, is how they're going to get away and live and be able to enjoy their lives. But definitely, I think you guys would probably like that. I think first season, I think it's only 12 episodes is what they have out right now, so I think that'd be a pretty cool one to watch, because season 2's coming out soon, and it's gonna be legendary. The manga is legendary as well too, man. So you guys got to hop on that train.
Does Death Note, does that kind of fall in the horror category, or is that more of like a investigation, criminal, like a setting style?
Yeah, so you could put it as part of horror too. You know what I mean? If you're to classify it as one genre, it maybe not, because it could be kind of more like a psychological detective one, but that one does have a horror aspect to it, and you could that could be like a subgenre of Death Note. I mean, Death Note's one of the goats up there that a lot of people who are not even into anime have seen. So you're
talking about the live action one, right?
Yeah, you've got a big anime when they cast the former Naked Brothers band guy as Light Yagami. So
my boy Light, maybe one of the best MCs in an anime. He's up there.
Well, and then L too. I've never seen, or there's very few side characters that have got as much hype as L. Like, I would say L almost has more fans than Light Yagami.
Yep, I think so, man. L was a legit character. Dead Man Wonderland is another good one. That's kind of classified as a horror anime. Corpse Party is something that's good. When They Cry, those are all good. But if you guys ever want to watch one, I would maybe do Promised Neverland would be a good one, just because that one's been more recent. And Another would be another good one. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. I don't know. There's this one I think it was King's Game, if I remember correctly. But oh man, there's like this group of high school kids that get kind of like sucked down into this game essentially, and man, they just murder left and right. I'm just gonna put it lightly, just everyone dying, and it's it messes with your head. It's insane, but it's enjoyable. I'm not a weirdo too. I just it's a good genre.
It's like a Game of Thrones, but in an
anime.
Just everybody dies.
Honestly, it kind of feels like that. It really does.
Well, plus for ones like that, you have to have a pretty intricate storyline.
Yeah.
You have to have it set up well in order to execute it.
Have you guys heard of or seen Darwin's Game? It's another one that kind of came out like, I think, was it a season or 2 seasons ago? Nothing crazy, but it's another one that kind of like with a bunch of high school kids again, but essentially there's this phone on their game. And if you play that phone on the game, it's essentially like a battle royale where they got to, essentially kill other people. And that one's,
oh gosh,
that one's pretty graphic too, but that one's really good. That one's not has so much like psychological, but just more as just like some savage stuff where it's just like, innocent people killing, like almost having to kill other innocent people, unfortunately. But those are some good ones to check out.
Yeah, it seems like that genre has kind of been getting more popular because both of those have gotten quite a bit of hype. Darwin's Game and Promised Neverland, and they both came out just in the last 2 years. They were both 2019.
Yeah, I think 2019. Yeah, if I remember correctly. I don't think they were 2020. I think it was 2019 because I don't remember watching it during the pandemic, COVID.
Oh gosh,
RIP 2020.
They're probably gonna have a COVID anime here pretty soon. Everybody's gonna be wearing masks, and then when they rip their mask off, they activate their bankai.
And then Tyler's just gonna be there taking an L because he has no bankai.
Yeah, so I'll just have to summon a Digimon and let him fight for me.
And then his Digimon's gonna be Magikarp, so he's still gonna take it out.
Oh gosh, get that! No, I'm gonna have a War Greymon in my back pocket.
I'm gonna have Gyarados just destroy you.
Oh, okay.
Be Heart of the Cards. Bam. Dark Magician.
I do like that thought process you play off of, though, where ones like Darwin's Game take the book like the most dangerous game and kind of play it off in a new and different direction.
Yeah,
that's a classic series novel we probably read in high school or middle school, right?
Yep, exactly.
And I've seen a lot of animes do that where they take one mainstream thought, but then they play it out intricately in this new wild direction.
Nah, I mean, that's what I love about anime, man. And that's why it's not a kid's thing and not just quote unquote a cartoon like some of these people over here say, but it's that type of like level of thinking that they put behind it. It kind of just makes it just awesome, and why I love anime so much.
One of my favorite memes I saw was it said people that say anime is childish will go and watch a whole season of Kim Kardashian or Living with the Kardashians. It's like, yeah, if you're gonna hate on anime, you can't be watching that.
Spoiler alert!
That's some
Tyler
real...
watches Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Sorry, everyone.
No.
And The Bachelor.
I watched a couple episodes.
See, I told you guys. Look at this guy.
He has bachelorette parties.
You do have bachelorette parties, huh?
Okay, I can't lie. We do have bachelorette parties. We watch The Batch and The Bachelorette religiously in this house. And sometimes I'll even do a bachelor fantasy. I'll put money on who's gonna win the show.
I think you have a new app idea right there.
So kind of
get that
going back, we are trying to fill a co-host spot. So everyone send in your applications because we will not have someone who does betting on The Bachelor or Bachelorette continue on this podcast, all right? I'm going to write a note to whoever's the boss of this podcast and get this man out of here.
Yeah, you can't watch The Bachelor, and you can't be a Digimon fan.
Get this man out of here. Look at this. You know what? Instead of his name being Tyler, it's going to be Trash Can. How about that?
Bro, change my name to the GOAT. How about that?
Change your name to the freaking Garbage Man. Get out of here. That Bachelorette batch. You know what? What if they made an anime that was like that, though? I feel like they have one. They have to, huh?
They probably do. It's probably on the bottom pages of Funimation and Crunchyroll, but I'm sure they've got something somewhere.
That'd be kind of legit.
Yeah, and by bottom pages, Tyler means it's on the top of his watch list page.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm watching. Instead of Code Geass, I'm just gonna watch them. It's Bachelor, except all the guys, they've got bankais and they've got to fight to the death to win Orihime.
Yo,
how about that?
Hey now.
Oh,
hey.
Orihime, let's
Get
go.
Get me in that. I'm just kidding. Where my dog's at. Hey, anyways, I think harem animes might be close to like The Bachelor or Bachelorette. You think about it? It's always like one dude and like 5 chicks.
Yeah.
We know you'd be watching that Bunny Senpai.
I already told you guys I did, man. I told you guys that in secret. Talk about potential waifus. Mai is up there for me now, so don't you guys be bagging on it. Don't you be bagging on it. Alrighty, boys. So what do you guys want to get into that next topic? Man, I feel like we got sidetracked a lot right there. I love it though. We get to realize, don't listen to Tyler. Nick brings some valid reasoning, and then I'm the GOAT. I stand at the top of the pyramid, and then Tyler's just a bottom feeder.
Nah, see, I'm like Conor McGregor. I'm notorious. They're always trying to take down the top dog. So,
which deep dive you want to get into first?
You want to start off on Overlord?
Let's do Overlord. Let's do it.
All right. So Overlord, I believe you would categorize it as a isekai anime. So Overlord, a little bit similar to Sword Art Online, except that basically from the go, the main character can't escape this virtual MMO RPG game he's playing. And then from that point on, he basically just becomes the god of this world and just smokes all of these non-player characters. Till this point in the anime, he doesn't seem to actually have came into contact with another actual player. So it's basically just 3 seasons of this guy playing his extremely overpowered avatar, clapping everybody's cheeks in this virtual world.
So what? So I always forget the names because when I watched Overlord, I watched it like all in one day, and this was like a year ago. So you guys are gonna have to you're gonna have to refresh the memory a little bit. Who's the skeleton dude again? Who's the main guy? What's his name? Is it Ainz or something like that?
So Lord's Isengone, but then he also had a disguise where he went as Lord Mormont. So sometimes I did get kind of confused. I was going back and forth.
It was basically like his 2 different versions. One was his fighting class and one of his spell class. So it was like he could travel throughout the cities as Mormont, kind of in disguise as a sword class. But still his real identity is this wizard type character.
Yeah, I always kind of get drawn in with these animes where they, play these video games and the dude's like always OP. I don't know. I just kind of love like a overpowered character. You know what I mean? This guy's just a beast, man.
Yeah, there's something about that John Wick style where the bad guys are always going to lose and the good guy is only going to get shot in the shoulder and just walk off just fine. But for something like that to go in there and they just demolish everybody they come in contact with, it's fun to watch. One of the problems I did have with it, though, is they gave him a soft heart. They gave him like this. He was kind to everyone he was around, but he's this skeletal figure that's basically has every power in the universe within the game. But then they made him a nice guy. Like, it was kind of a contrast I wasn't looking for. I wanted him to be the mean guy that came in and took over the world.
I was gonna say, did you want him to be more of a savage where he just kind of goes in there and just like lays it down, just puts the hammer down on everyone?
Yeah, just goes in and tears apart a village and claims it as his own, rebuilds it. That's what I was expecting when I was going into it.
I get that same urge sometimes too, where especially like sometimes when you're like, come on, man, what are you doing? Like, you're obviously the best, man. You're the greatest in this anime. Just do it. Just like be that jerk, You just kind of want him to be a tyrant a little bit and just like what you said, take over the world. I think we have some problems, man, but it's all good.
Yeah, I think that was kind of another thing that I would say I had a problem with, like Nick was saying, was that sometimes it seemed like he would go back and forth. For example, when he invaded that swamp with all the lizard people, first he just demolishes everybody. Just like their top 5 warriors try to fight one of his subordinates and just get mopped with the floor. But then he ends up bringing 2 of them back to life, and then later on in the series, they're actually training with him at his big old coliseum that he had. So it was, at times, I couldn't really tell what his intentions were. I guess it seems like he was playing mind games with people. He kind of wanted to test them to see what they were capable of, and then if they passed his test, he would recruit them, and then if not, he would just kill them right off the bat.
I guess they kind of led into it even with like the color tones of the show, though, because everything was bright and kind of happy, where usually they use more dark and solemn tones if it's going to be kind of this evil demeanor throughout the show.
They really do. That's a good point that you bring up. Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on, okay, so who's the character again It's that girl. It's that chick who has like she has like horns. Does she have wings too? The horns. Do you guys remember her name?
Yeah, I think her name's Netero or something. Let me see. I'll look it up really quick. But yeah, she was she could just be in her own harem anime by herself. She was coming after those bones. I was like, dang, girl,
Yeah.
all right.
And they wrote the code for her specifically to like be in love with the main character.
I was gonna
Like
say.
he messed with their code, so she falls head over heels for him.
She cracks. Yeah, she cracked me up in the anime from what I remember, man. Just because like was specifically what they kind of what they designed for her character to be. You're kind of like, what, I don't know if this is necessary, but you're kind of loving it though because it kind of adds like another dimension to it.
Just a lighthearted tone.
Exactly. Get that name.
Let me see. Well, it's giving me the Japanese, the voice actors for the Japanese version. Let me see.
What, you can't read hiragana?
Hit again.
Oh, wait. Okay. So Demiurge, that was the demon. He had the pointy ears, the tail, and the glasses. There was Kakadis. He was that beetle guy that went into the lizard swamp and just murdered everybody. Sebis was the old butler guy who found that blonde girl that got pretty dark. She was getting like sex trafficked or something by the kingdom. Albedo, oh, it's not giving me a picture, but yeah, he had a pretty big supporting cast. I mean, he basically everybody that worked for him could single-handedly demolish everyone in the empire.
So if you had to rank this one, where would you put it on the series ranking? S rank, A rank, B rank?
Okay, so I think I would give Overlord, I'm going to give it a C rating, and I'll say this is why. Even though they definitely played on the fact that this guy was overpowered, but where I felt it lacked was building up a character that you felt was important enough to really challenge him. I kind of felt like they never really built up anyone that was even close to opposing him. For example, One Punch Man, even though we know Saitama's always just going to blast whoever he fights, they make the bad guy look so monstrous. You're like, oh, this he might actually have a chance. But in Overlord, just nobody stood a chance. I mean, the finale in season 3 when they collect, I think their army was like 200,000 soldiers or something, and then Ainz will go and he summons these 5 giant demon goats, smashes a whole army. He doesn't even have to lay a finger, and then he fights the best warrior in the whole kingdom, and it's not even a fight. He basically like speed blitzes him and stabs him in the stomach, or he barely places a hand on him and he dies. So I would say that's where Overlord for me was kind of lacking. I definitely understand the fact that, this guy comes into the game, he's got all of his powers, he's basically the god of his universe, but I think they could have maybe built it up a little bit more, kind of like they do in One Punch. So that's why I would have to give it a C. C.
Ooh. I could see where you're going with the C. I'm in between. I kind of want to be on that B range with it, man. I don't know. I feel guilty always, being harsh on animes. They just have a soft spot in my heart. But I think I'm going to go with the B. I kind of like this type of genre. I've always kind of just been a sucker for it, and I just kind of like enjoy it. Even though like if you kind of start comparing it with other animes of its type, you're like, I don't think Overlord was that good, which I think I would probably put it in a C. But if I kind of just block out everything else, kind of enjoy it for what it is, I'm kind of in that B range with it. What do you think, Nick? What's your final judgment?
I'm gonna have to go with Tyler on this one. I'm going with C class on this.
Man, we got a bunch of haters here, man. What the heck?
No, but C class to me means like it's a good anime, but it's average. Like I'd still recommend it to other people, but it's not one I would go back and rewatch. Like a B class anime is something, hey, in a couple years from now I'll watch it again.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see that. That's fair.
Maybe it's just how I have it ranked in my head, but I think it's around a C class. Average, good. Recommend it to other people, but definitely not up there.
I think Overlord's kind of popular among like just people in general. I think he usually gets pretty decent ratings. And I see like if I were to give it like a number rating like out of 10, I'd probably be in like that 7 range, probably 7 to 6. So I don't think I think C's perfectly fine rating for that. And like I said, I was like C. I was between a C and a B, and I'll always probably just go for the higher of the two.
Yeah, and I would even say if they come out with a season 4, and if they kind of expand on what they've got, I could definitely see it improving, bumping it up to a B. I think if they do a season 4, they maybe need to do a little more character development too, because most of the character development is basically the side characters that aren't even a part of his army. They're just side characters within the world that he kind of recruits, and they'll do a couple episodes of them hanging out with the goblins or whatever. So I think that's one area where they could improve on if they do.
Hey Tyler, where do you rate Codename Kids Next Door on your all-time anime list?
Codename Kids Next Door is by far number 1. I put it above One Piece. I put it above Dragon Ball Z. That's the god.
I feel like we gotta test Tyler periodically, just to make sure he's on track still. You know what I mean?
He'd be watching that Billy and Mandy on the side.
Yeah, Billy and Mandy. I love Billy and Mandy, man.
They've got pretty good animation in Rugrats too. I've got to say, Rugrats, some of the fight scenes are just they're top tier.
Ooh, you know what I just thought of right now and remembered? So I got this Bokksu box, right? And that's like a monthly subscription. It's called Bokksu. It's like Bokksu. It's like a monthly subscription, but you get Japanese snacks, right? So far, loving it, man. They have like a bunch of good snacks, like, sweet snacks, like savory, chips, chocolates, all like the red bean paste stuff, white bean paste stuff. But what I just thought about now? Because we just moved to a different apartment, and you know what? I think, I forgot to switch my address, so I'm wondering how that's going to work out.
So all your harem anime is going to go to the wrong address now.
Yeah, right, boy. What the heck?
Some other stranger's going to find it and be a little shook.
Someone's going to be a happy person. First of all, everyone, I do not have harem animes. Not that I order, at least. I'm just kidding.
I'm not sure if you actually like the box or if you just like food.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes I'm like, when I think about like red bean paste and white bean. I don't know, have you guys ever had that stuff before?
Yeah, I like it. It's pretty good.
Right? It's not bad, right? But then I eat it, but like that stuff in bulk, I'm like, I don't know if I could just like binge eat that. But I think that's like the point of it. You're not supposed to binge eat it. But like, you guys know me, man. You put food in front of my face, it's going down. And it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, I can't ever tell anymore if I actually like or hate a food.
Yeah.
Because if it's edible, I'll pretty much eat whatever.
I agree. But there's some pretty interesting snacks, man. I'm gonna have to send you guys some one of these days, or if you guys are ever around, like save some and have you guys eat them. But they're pretty good stuff.
Well, I know like green tea mochi balls and red bean mochi balls. Those slap, and those are delicious.
Green tea ice cream mochi.
Yeah. Boy, what you laughing about over there?
You're just like eating things ball shaped.
Yeah, pretty much. Cheese balls.
He says,
we were hopping onto the
balls.
podcast the other day, and this dude just opens up a banana.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what is this dude really trying to do right now?
And I don't think
that is how I kicked it off.
I don't think it would have been that bad, but he was like seductively looking at the I felt like he was looking through our souls into the camera when he was eating it.
Direct eye contact.
Yet again, everyone, we're accepting applications for a second, third co-host. We need to get this man out of here. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're trying to say you don't want me to activate the Sharingan Genjutsu while I'm eating a banana?
I mean, I just think you're in a group of guys, just eating a banana in general might not be the best idea. All you guys out there, you guys know what we're talking about.
All right, what's the next anime we're getting on?
Y'all want to hop in a little bit of that Dr. Stone?
Dr. Stone. Man, talk about an anime that just was legendary. Legendary anime that came out. You want to give the synopsis on it, Tyler?
So Doctor Stone, I would say it's really an anime. To my knowledge, it's one of a kind. So they start Doctor Stone off in modern time Japan. This unknown phenomenon activates on Earth in a flash, turns at least every human, and it seems like every living creature into stone. No explanation, no anything. Just that's it. Everyone's turned completely to stone.
No rhyme or reason.
No rhyme or reason. You flash forward to 3,700 years later, and our main character finally awakes, Senku, and this guy is he's an absolute genius. And in an anime where there's not necessarily superpowers per se, Senku, his superpower is intelligence. He's basically the smartest person alive, smartest person on Earth. He's like a mad scientist combined with a mechanical engineer combined with a chemist. I mean, he can do anything. In this show, you'll see him. He makes a pair of glasses out of nothing. He makes a water engine, or he makes he makes batteries. I mean, he's just insane.
So essentially, right, you get you're in the future, right, with all this modern day technology, science, is at the head of its game. It's at the peak where it just keeps developing so fast. And then, when everyone turns into stone, it literally takes the whole world back, and they're essentially, living, in like the primitive world where it's just like no electricity, no running water, nothing like that. They're essentially like cavemen again. And I don't know, man, like this one I just love this anime so much because I don't know, it's such a sciencey anime, and I got a degree in sciences, and I don't know, I just really appreciate all the scientific stuff that they did in this, and just the fact that Senku, he's just the legit MC, and he's just, I don't know, just so legendary, man. And I think our goal is, because our boy Nick over here be slacking over here, man. We got another STEM major over here, and he hasn't watched this anime. We're gonna get him to watch it here soon.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to watch this one in the past week, but what I'm getting from it is you just have like this super brainiac set in a post-apocalyptic world, and he's just trying to navigate his way through.
Exactly. So Senku, actually one legendary part that I gets hyped about thinking that happened during this series, and honestly, it's like it really is nothing special when you think about it. But so when they first turned to stone, my boy Senku over here, in order to keep time and figure out like how much time has passed, he counted, right, until he almost passed out. So this dude, can you imagine like being in stone and just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he would get to like a ridiculously long number, and then he would almost his mind would almost go blank, and then he'd be like, oh shoot, I almost went blank. Let me count again, and he start counting over. And essentially, he counted so many times to this like such big number, and then so when he broke out of his stone figure, he was like, all right, well, I counted this much, and I counted it this many times, so this is about how many years went by. And man, talk about legendary stuff right there. I can't even count to like 50 without getting distracted and like wanting to like just stop. Like I'm pretty sure we all could agree on that too. My boy over here is just a genius, laid it down, legendary MC right here.
Well, and I think the other thing that makes Dr. Stone so strong is it really epitomizes the idea of bronze versus brains. Yep. Because the primary antagonist, Tsukasa. So Tsukasa, in this world of no technology, bare minimum weapons, this dude is just a beast. I mean, with the first couple episodes, he kills a set of lions with just his bare hands.
I gotta admit, that was legendary, man. And like, to keep it in perspective, Nick, this dude is in high school, so you're just like, what the fuck? There's no way that's true. But he's a beast nonetheless.
Yeah, and I mean, when you don't have guns, you don't have weapons or armor, basically what this guy says is what goes. And so as the anime progresses, you basically see kind of a warring of two kingdoms. Senku running his kingdom of science, where it's a small village. They don't have many warriors, but basically he is just fast forwarding this village into the 21st century. He's producing electricity. He's making light bulbs. He figures out a way to make katanas. And the antagonist, this dude, he's basically just a meathead, but he's such a beast. He rounds up this army of basically just swole guys with spears, and I think as we get into season 3, that's kind of what they're going to get more into, the battle of science versus just raw power.
Yeah, so like to kind of keep him like caught up with it. So Senku, right? So he breaks out of his like stone shell, and like the next thing he does is like he finds it's essentially his best friend in high school and breaks him out of his shell. So they're kind of navigating through this world trying to survive, and their next goal was to break essentially what's his best friend's name again? Taiju. Is it Taiju, right?
Yeah,
Taiju. And like he had a crush on this one girl, which her name was Yuzura or something like that. Yuzihara,
yeah,
something like that. And I think, does she bust out first? Do they, free her first, or do they free Tsukasa first? That's the part I can't quite remember. But essentially, those two are surviving, and like his best friend is kind of like he's not the smartest guy in the world, but he's kind of like a muscly type of bronzy type of guy like that, where he kind of does a lot of the muscle when he first is like released and helping Senku out. But then, they kind of like what Tyler was saying, these lions or tigers come and attacking them, and they end up having to free Tsukasa. But then that's like kind of the beginning and the end, because Tsukasa essentially was like, I'll help you guys out, I'll protect you. But then he saw Senku as the biggest threat to him, because he's essentially okay, that's what it was. Senku he wants to undo the whole like petrification and like free everyone from the stone, like adults included. So that's where like the beef and the rift happens between Senku and Tsukasa, is that Tsukasa he essentially blames it on the parents for like the world being ruined and stuff like that, the adults, and then he's like, no, I don't want to save these people. But Senku's like, no, we need to save everyone. So the rift happens. They split up. Essentially, Senku comes across this little village, Ishigami village, I think, and comes across these people where he essentially revolutionizes this village, right? And like doing like just kind of modern science stuff, like being able to get like electricity and stuff like that, where Tsukasa is, he figured out the technique of how to turn to get people out of their stone figure, and he essentially keeps doing that, but he's like doing a bunch of like these other kind of like muscle heads dudes that he thinks are going to help him rule the world essentially. So then like kind of the rift goes on, and then the second season should be legendary, that these two people are going to come face to face, and essentially, who knows, are they going to scrap? It's called like Stone Wars. Like, I don't know, I'm excited for it.
I'm already pretty much sold, because I've never been much of a bronze guy. I'm always a brains guy.
Yeah, it's legendary. And there's one character who I really liked, man, but he kind of creeped me out, and I don't his name was Gen, Tyler. He's that dude who the black and silver hair.
Yeah, at first you think that this guy, he's gonna be a saboteur.
Exactly.
And that, I would say, that's a character where they had, even just in one season, they had a ton of character development.
Yep. So this character, Nick, he's just like, he's essentially goes to this village that Senku's at, right? Essentially trying to figure out if Senku's dead or not. And then this dude, he's like the most shadiest character on this first season, and you're just trying to decide, and I still don't know, and we'll leave it up to everyone else to decide, is this dude essentially on the good side of Senku, because he seems to be like helping them out, or is he playing like double agent, where he's really on Tsukasa's side still, but like Tsukasa sent him to spy on Senku, but then he's like thinking, I think Senku could do better for us, but then you still get like that weird vibe and feeling from him, like, what is this guy, what is he really going to do? Is this dude going to stab him in the back and kind of ruin everything? Or is this dude going to be like be a homie and like help them, save the world, revolutionize it, and like help a lot of people out?
It's almost like those anti-heroes who are not really on anyone's side, exactly, but they just do whatever's in their best interest,
That's exactly what this character is, and what he's doing.
So I think if I'm giving Dr. Stone a rating, I'll give it I'll say an A-. I think this anime, so just in the first season, they established a lot of really strong characters. I mean, you've got the protagonist, the antagonist, a lot of really strong side characters like Chrome, Magma.
We didn't even talk about Kohaku either. She's the blonde girl that's in Ishimigami Village or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Kohaku.
She's a beast.
She kind of gives you Urza vibes.
Kinda
She's
does.
basically the best.
I could agree with that. I like that.
She's the best warrior that they've got in the Science Kingdom. And, I mean, a lot of character development just in the first season. You see Magma flip from kind of an enemy to possibly an ally. Same thing potentially with Gin. We're still not 100% sold on that yet. But I would say this anime, it required a lot of creativity. I mean, the fact that they obviously did a lot of scientific research to explain as the episode's going on how they would make a battery, how they would make a pair of glasses, how they would make a light bulb with literally the resources you would have if you were dropped in the middle of the Stone Age. So,
amazing.
Nonetheless, this anime is awesome, and depending on how far they go, I think this is an anime that could definitely kind of dominate for the next decade, especially seeing as how new it is.
You know what other character I love that we forgot to mention real quick too is Chrome.
Yeah.
So Chrome grows up in this small village too, right? But it's so cool because Chrome is kind of like that wacky, like essentially nutcase that everyone like thinks of as a weirdo in the village because he's always doing these science experiments. And like since it is like such in the Stone Age and like no one knows what any of this stuff is, you're like, man, this guy's a weirdo. But it's I love it because when Senku comes to this village, Senku's like, oh yeah, I already know all this stuff. Like where I'm from, like we do all this and more. So then he's kind of like validating what Chrome was trying to do and like trying to like progress his village into doing. And that's just, I don't know, something about that dynamic between those two. You kind of get like it's funny because they're like the same age, but you're kind of getting like a, you know, like master and student type of vibe to it because he's like teaching him, you know, all this science stuff. And that's why I'm like, oh man, Chrome is going to be legit. With Senku, you know what, you think about when they catch up Chrome, when Senku catches up Chrome as far as like the sciencey stuff goes, that might be a force to be, you know, that's going to be a tough one for Tsukasa to, you know, overcome, even with all his, you know, muscle man army that he's going to have. But he can't beat science, man. It's going to hard to beat that one. I don't know. But my rating, I'm going to give it an A right now. All right, I'm not going to jump up any higher than that just because I feel like we got to let this play out a little bit. Of course, it could drop down too, depending on how, you know, some of these upcoming seasons go or do. But I mean, I've read some of the manga, man, and I'm not disappointed yet. So I'm looking forward to this next season big time.
So do you think this is going to be one of those animes that runs for 4 or 5 seasons and then is done?
I think, yeah, I don't think it's gonna be like, it's not gonna be like a Naruto or like a, you know, like a Bleach. I don't think it's gonna be anything that long. I think it'd be more like probably kind of like a Food Wars, if I would guess. You know how that was like 4 seasons, kind of like what you're saying.
Maybe about 100 episodes or so and wrap it up.
I hope so. You know, I hope so. That's how much I'm really enjoying this anime, man. It's actually probably one of the more popular ones that came out this past, like last year too. So, I mean, I think, is it 2021, right? Is what it's scheduled? I don't know if you guys know that off the top of your head.
Yeah, I think 2021. And I mean, I think in a year where there was a lot of strong animes that have been coming out recently, Dr. Stone's kind of leading the charge right now as far as this new gen.
It's right there, man. It is. I don't know. I haven't really heard a bad thing about it yet from like a lot of people. So, and Nick's gonna watch us. We're gonna come back on one of these next ones. We're gonna get we'll do a quick little review from his opinion as well too, man. It's gonna be good, and I guarantee you, he's gonna love it, and it's gonna be nothing but good things to say about it. I hope, at least.
Yeah, I haven't seen it on the top list of anything, but I also haven't heard negative comments on any of the blogs I'm on.
Yeah.
So I think it's solid right there in the middle, like you guys are saying. A-class anime.
It's gonna be one of those good ones.
Yeah. It's better than Decadence, we can say that.
Decadence. We reviewed Decadence last podcast, but we never know. That one might be lost in the archives. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see if we bring that one back out.
You know, I kind of messed up on my recording, so you could kind of hear Tyler. Of course, he comes in like staticky. So I'm just saying, man, we might be able to record that, you know, play that gem. Our very first podcast recorded. Play that gem for, all of our loyal fans out there, all whopping. Well, let's see, my wife, your guys' wife, so all 3 whopping fans out there right now. But, it's going to grow. We're going to get there one of these days. That's all I'm saying, and then everyone's going to be recommending animes, and I'm probably going to watch them. Nick and Tyler are just going to be sitting there being chums still, so we'll get them there.
Watching Digimon.
I was going to be watching Codename Kids Next Door again as his top anime.
Hey, you can't deny Codename Kids Next Door. That or Dexter's Laboratory. You know what? Put Dexter's Laboratory best anime of all time.
Great cartoons, man. Those are all great cartoons nonetheless.
Well, I gotta tell you guys, I'm a fat boy and I love to eat, and it's past my dinner time. So
baby.
I think I gotta go eat. I don't know about y'all.
I'm a fat boy as well, man. I'm always down to eat.
Sounds good, boys. All right, thanks for joining us here on this Fat Boys Anime Podcast. We'll be coming at you again with more anime breakdowns, more juicy anime topics. So thanks for listening.